Boys and girls, welcome to the 2023 Literary Award Public Lecture here at Martin Luther King Junior High School. Please put your hands together for our very special guest and Nashville's new mayor, a man who somehow manages to be everywhere at once. Please welcome Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
All right, good morning, everybody. I totally recognize that voice. There's no mistaking it. It's Brett Wilson, who leads the Wishing Chair team. You all are in for a treat later today because if you have never seen a Wishing Chair production, I will tell you, both of our daughters have been raised on Wishing Chair Productions, and it is one of, give them a round of applause. What Wishing Chair does so well and so thoroughly is bring ideas off of pages and into life. And they don't just do it in a single auditorium. They have one of the coolest things in the city, which is a puppet truck. And it will go around. I've seen Wishing Chair productions in beautiful weather like today outside. I have seen them in the library auditorium. But it's a great reminder that our Nashville Public Library isn't just stacks full of books. It's a whole network of creative, talented people trying to bring us all ages, into the creative ideas that start with reading. So can you all please give one more big round of applause to Wishing Chair Productions? And the incredible staff at the Nashville Public Library, the incredible talent at Wishing Chair Productions, they show us all why this library system won Library of the Year in 2017. And of all the cities and all the libraries in the United States, Wishing Chair Productions is in Nashville at the Nashville Public Library. And we appreciate them so much as parents. Wishing Chair shows are an invitation to fall in love with books and reading as a family, and I will be excited in about an hour to bring our entire family into this auditorium to see a world premiere, so stick around for that. Now, the same invitation can be said of all of the books over here at the table, written by Kate DiCamillo. If you all wouldn't mind too, one more round of applause for our incredible honoree. Kate's books are that same invitation. She reminds her adult readers, which I have been many times over, for 2 daughters and several books worth, that we learn from young readers. They teach us, both the books and the readers. The books and the readers question us and question the status quo. And I can tell you as I stand here as mayor, sometimes that can be a challenge for where you go in life, because that questioning the status quo is what got me interested beyond reading into so many of the other things that I have been able to do in life. And we are called by so many of the stories here to examine the job we're doing in preparing young people for their futures. That job begins in so many ways in places like this, amazing public schools with school libraries that are an extension of a program that we began years ago in Nashville called Limitless Libraries. It begins with that entire network that I was talking about, which is all about creating equitable early access to books and stories for all of Nashville's children and students. Kate's work urges us toward that mission. She uses magic and imagination to create a starting point for all of us and nudges us toward more togetherness. I was talking last night and earlier today, you just could not imagine the joy and pride that readers young and old had, and the opportunity to meet Kate. I met Camille, who was so excited holding up 2 books, and we have heard that Kate is Taylor Swift in more than one Nashville household, which is a great reminder of the power of books and reading. So reading together helps you move toward more courage, compassion, and community, toward doing the right thing by young readers, future young readers, and I'm looking forward to doing the work of answering Kate's invitation for the next 4 years. This is the joy of a lifetime, to be standing in a place where we get to celebrate books, reading, imagination, and I want to thank a few people, and I will ask for a brief round of applause at the end of this, because all of these people are committed to the equitable access I talked about earlier. The first is Terry Luke, the library's interim director. Sean Baker, president of the Nashville Public Library Foundation. Deneen Tour of Dollar General Literacy Foundation, whose stickers are on almost every library book our family has taken home from the Nashville Public Library for today's celebration. And also, it's worth recognizing a few of the people who have helped make this possible. Cassidy Bentley, Ann Patchett, who I know is here, and of course, Kate. Would you all help me with thanking them with another round of applause? Kate, you're a deeply conscientious writer. It has been great to hear you speak a few times while you've been here, and I look forward to introducing myself to the books that I haven't read yet. You're holding us accountable to the children who love your tales, and we're having a great time hosting you in Nashville this weekend. Thank you for being here, and thank you for having me at this wonderful event. My name is Freddie O'Connell. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Good morning. My name is Terry Luke, and I have the honor and pleasure of being the Nashville Public Library Interim Library Director. I'm glad to be here this morning, and I'm so glad that each of you has joined us, including everyone who is watching via live stream. Every year, we honor a great author with the Nashville Public Library Literary Award. We recognize these writers for their talent and for their contributions to the literary world. This year, we honor Kate DiCamillo. There was no way for Kate to know this, but in 2004, my son met her. He asked me to buy him an exhibit pass. For American Library Association, you can actually buy an exhibit pass. Way back then, it was only $25. And then he could go to the hall and he could get to meet all of these wonderful authors. But he especially wanted to meet Kate. He asked me if he could get her to sign Because of Winn-Dixie, for which Kate won the Newbery Medal in 2001. And also The Tale of Despereaux, which she later won the Newbery Medal again in 2004. Kate, my son, has kept these books for 19 years. They have meant that much to him. So as we celebrate you, Kate, and your work, we're also celebrating Nashville Public Library and what NPL means to everyone in our community. By coming together this morning with this incredible crowd, we are celebrating and affirming how much we respect and appreciate Nashville Public Library, a place where everyone is welcome, where all voices matter, where reading creates joy, and where people are passionate about public service. But today we're also celebrating you. Each time you visit our library, every time you use your library card or you come to one of our programs, you make Nashville Public Library stronger. When a great library and a great city commit to each other, magic happens. And today, you are part of that magic. At this time, I am pleased to introduce Deneen Tour. She's coming up to the stage Deneen is the executive director of the Dollar General Literacy Foundation, and she also serves as Dollar General's vice president of corporate social responsibility and philanthropy. The Dollar General Literacy Foundation is an outstanding supporter of Nashville Public Library's programs for children and families, and Deneen has been a champion of NPL's work for many years. So we are grateful for Dollar General's support here today, so please help me welcome her.
So good morning. It is so wonderful to be here with you guys and see all your beautiful, happy faces. I am Deneen Tor. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Social Responsibility for Dollar General and have the great honor of being the Executive Director of our Literacy Foundation. And so libraries, well, you had me at hello with that, right? You had my heart. But Dollar General and the Dollar General Literacy Foundation are so proud to be longtime supporters of our amazing Nashville Library because they are. They're simply amazing, right? And you just heard it said by the mayor and by Terry that great cities have great libraries, and ours is phenomenal. So we are very, very blessed. And so whether that is, and we're excited to be a part of that because whether it's their beautiful collections or whether it's their incredible programming, they do a beautiful job of making sure there is something for everyone at our Nashville Public Library. And as a matter of fact, there's something almost magical about our library because when you walk through the doors of the library, the whole world awaits. You know, the whole world awaits with just the turn of a page. You can learn about faraway lands, walk the footsteps of our forefathers, increase your knowledge, find inspiration, and let your creativity and imagination soar. And the beauty of the library, our library, is that it is not just contained in four walls downtown, but it's brought to life through programs in our schools and communities, programs like the one that you're at today. And talking about today, we are so excited. We have some incredible students joining us today from some of Nashville's phenomenal schools, including a couple from Martin Luther King Jr. High School right here. And so they have been selected to be our special guest and be able to ask our special author a couple of questions in a few minutes. And so why don't we have all of our students please stand to be recognized? Yeah, thank you. So thank you to you guys for being amazing rock stars, showing up today and having the courage to let your voice shine and ask some incredible questions. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. This is going to be exciting, guys. So proud of you guys. And we are also fortunate to have with us today Nashville's very own literary superstar, the amazing Ann Patchen, a cornerstone of Nashville Public Library, proprietor of Parnassus Books, all-around incredible Nashvilleian, and a literary rock star. Did I say that already? Let me say that again, a giant. So grateful to have you here with us today. And she brought with her today one of her very special friends. Can you guys guess who her friend might be? Yes. So yes, that's right. It is Miss Kate DiCamillo, and we are honored to have her with us today, an incredible award-winning author of children's literature whose books are inspiring readers through the triumph of love and courage and remind us to find light and hope in a challenging world. She has published 25 novels, as well as a robust collection of illustrated books for young readers, has over 40 million books in print around the world. Her first novel, let me repeat that, her first novel received a Newbery Honor. Her second became a National Book Award finalist. She has won 2 Newbery Awards. One was the National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, and her books have been adapted for the screen, and after today, she can say adapted to puppet show as well. But isn't that so cool? But you may know her better as the creator who brought to life such beloved characters as those who won our hearts and made us laugh and cry and smile and have a little bit more courage in our hearts and lives. The incredible Mercy Watson, Despero, Edward Tulane, Winn-Dixie, Flora and Ulysses, and so much more, guys. Without further ado, please join me in giving a great big Nashville welcome to Miss Kate DiCamillo and her friend Ann.
I'm doing this what I said I would do.
Okay, great. Good. How are y'all doing? Good? It's so nice of y'all to come out on a, Ann thought she was going to be in charge, but she's not. On a Saturday morning, a beautiful Saturday morning, to talk with us about books. We're so grateful. So, okay.
Hey, Fluff.
Hey, Ann. Ann calls me Fluffy. Yeah.
So just roll with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to do my own little thank you to the Nashville Public Library and the foundation. We have loved working with you. To our terrific mayor, I'm so thrilled. Freddie, thank you for being with us. And I also want to give a shout out to my friends along the wall, Parnassus Books. Peeps, thank you very much. Love you guys. You ready?
I'm ready. Ann's going to ask me tough questions. Or, I mean, we could let them vote. I've got a speech, but no. Ann, you want Ann to ask me questions? Yeah, right. That's nobody ever wants a speech. Yeah.
It's good.
Okay,
I'm sitting on it actually right now. All right. So what I know a whole lot of things about you. You are an incredibly hard worker and an incredibly regular worker. Mm-hmm. All right. Tell me a little bit about your work habits, and then I'm going to turn that into a question.
Okay, so it's an essay about my work habits. Well, I don't, we'll find this out very soon that I have no short answers. And so before I talk about my work habits, I want to talk about my non-work habits.
Wait, no.
I'm
going to connect this to a
you
real
can do
question.
it. I just want to put it into context. That this is the thing, is like I wanted to write for so long and talked about writing and dreamed of being a writer. And guess what? I didn't write. So by the time I sat down and started to do it, this is very relevant. I realized that it was entirely up to me about whether or not I was going to do the work. It wasn't going to be done by, shoemaker's elves. I had to sit down and do it. And I decided I was going to, no matter what, that I was working full time. I still had time to write 2 pages a day. So I did that, and that is how I still proceed, and I write very slowly, but if you show up every day and do 2 pages a day, no matter how you feel, no matter how worried you are that somebody else is better at this than you are, if you just keep on showing up, you will have a story. So now, does that lead into what you want to ask me?
It does, and I also want to say to that, people ask me all the time, what's your best writing advice? And I always say, to write.
Yes, that's it.
Which really, the years go by and it doesn't get more complicated than that.
Right, and it is, how many of you out there are interested in being writers? That's a pretty, Ann and I are too, and it is, a lot of times, I don't know if you feel this, and I don't know if I've said this to you, but I'll get introduced as an author, and I never like that word. I always like the word writer, because author is somebody who's done something. Writer is somebody who is doing something.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, and that's what, it is not what I've done, it's what I'm doing, yeah.
Okay, so you have very good work habits. You get up super early in the morning and you go down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
That's what we say. And we send each other an email every single morning, and Fluffy says, I'm going down the rabbit hole. Good luck, have a good day. And then we check in again at night. So what is it like for you to do this? That's the question.
To do this?
To do this, to come to Nashville. We went, thanks to Dollar General, we went to Antioch yesterday to the A.Z. Kelly School, and you spoke to more than 400 kids, and Dollar General gave the school a beautiful, beautiful gift. And then last night there was a patrons party at Parnassus, and now we're here, and tonight's a gala. It's a lot for somebody who stays alone in her rabbit hole every morning typing.
Yeah.
How do you make those two very different parts of yourself work together?
It's a really interesting question.
Thanks so much. I'm glad you let me ask
I mean,
it.
I'm glad you put some thought into this. Yeah. It's funny because, and I think I said this last night, that when I'm alone in my room writing, and it takes it a long time for it to become a book, but it does not become a book until it's in your hands and until y'all are reading it. And it is an astonishing thing to me that even though I will never meet most of the people who are reading the books, I feel that connection. So even though I'm alone in my room writing, an introvert, because I really am an introvert, I learned how to pretend not to be shy when I worked at Disney.
Where you're going to have to tell them about that.
Yeah, I was going to say my job was, I was dressed in a blue polyester spacesuit, and my job was to tell people to watch their step. And sometimes when people say, why did you become a writer? It's like, well, because I took that as far as it could go. You know, it was just like... But it was I learned a lot at Disney about how to interact with people. And I also learned something. I grew up in Central Florida, and I grew up saying y'all. And I found that when you had to move a huge group of people, if you said, can I get you guys to do me a favor, they would just stare at you. And then if I said, can y'all help me out? Bam, you could move 500 people. Yeah, so it's like y'all is a very helpful word, I have to say. Okay, so what was the question?
Yeah, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. The question is, how do you balance the two parts of yourself? Because I know for a fact that when we're both home in our separate homes writing away, sometimes we say, we'll never do this again.
Yes.
We'll never go outside again. Never, ever. Okay. I'm going to stay inside. And then you do go outside, and you seem happy.
Yeah, and so I can tie that together because it is that thing where that connection that I feel when the book goes out in the world, that thing where y'all are completing me by reading the book, then that gets mirrored in interacting with people. Like, I mean, it was so great to be with those kids yesterday morning, to feel that connection. It's odd, but it taps into the same thing. It's connection, and it's all about, I was talking to, I won't tell y'all that yet, but it's just like the puppet show that y'all are gonna see, that one book is everything that books have given to me, distilled oddly into one word, la. You know, it's that power of connection, that reflected light that we get when we read together in the community that gets built. So when I'm standing there talking, I feel that community and I feel blessed. So, okay.
So what about the connection you feel as a reader?
Oh, I am a reader above and beyond. If you ask me who I am in the world, that's my first answer. How many of y'all are readers? You don't have to say it just because, I mean, that... I said this last night, and I'm happy to say it again, where I found out absolutely and had it confirmed for me who I was in the world. I mean, my mom paid a lot of attention to me as a reader, but I remember being in the Cooper Memorial Public Library, which was literally, it was like the library in Because of Winn-Dixie. It was an old house, a little old house that had been converted into a library. I was checking out my books. I was 8 years old. And I had my 4 books. It was a 4-book maximum. And the head librarian, Miss Alice, came out from behind the desk and said to the librarian that was checking me out, you may waive the 4-book maximum for Kate. She can check out as many books as she likes at a time. She is a true reader. And that was how I knew who I was because Miss Alice came out from behind the desk and announced it to me. And it's like, okay, this is who I am. And that's who I've been ever since. Yeah.
So give your mom credit.
Oh yeah, I would like to give my mom credit. Okay, Ann wanted a different answer, but I wanted to talk about Miss Alice for a minute. So I was a kid who was very, very, very fortunate to grow up in a home where my mom read to me, and where she bought me books and took me to the library all the time. And I was also a kid who knew from a very early age that in the books were what I needed. But when I was growing up, I'm 59, we didn't learn how to read until first grade. And I was just chomping at the bit. I couldn't wait. And we got in there, and I'm sorry how many teachers are out there? Oh, can I take a sidebar for a minute?
I wish you would.
How many of you teachers read out loud to your class? Can we all give them a gigantic round of applause? I have to tell you, y'all are saving lives when you do that. There is just no doubt about it. So anyway, but first grade, 1970, Claremont, Florida, we learned to read with phonics. It might as well have been Greek. I had no idea what they were talking about. And I came home from school weeping. I said to my mother, because I could feel this thing that I wanted, but yet it was receding. I don't understand what they're talking about. It makes no sense to me, and I want to read. And she said, immortally, for the love of Pete, calm down. And then she said, we'll just work around it. Your brain works differently. She made me flashcards. I memorized the words. That's how my mom taught me to read. And I wish I'd thought to thank her when she was still alive. You know, it was such a gift. It was such a gift. So
Probably writing all those books, she figured out that you were thanking
Oh,
her.
no, she didn't figure that out. She was like, yeah, don't tell her they're good. She'll get a big head. That was my mother. Yeah.
How much of reading is a part of your life now, and how does it connect to your writing?
I, like you, am reading all the time, but I, like you, unlike you, have more freedom in what I read, because you read for the bookstore and to make sure that people know about what's coming out. I get to read whatever I want. I'm never without a book. And the books, you know, sometimes when we're doing Q&A, a kid will raise their hand and ask this very tentatively, like they're going to get in trouble for asking it. Do you ever get ideas from when you read other books? And it's like, absolutely I do, because it's that same thing that I was talking about. I'm engaging with that writer, and I can feel those sparks, and I get the sparks of ideas. Don't you get?
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so it is, and this is the great thing about what we do for a living. It's like I get up, I do that writing early, and then I do the work of, you know, all the office work that comes with this, and by 2 o'clock, I let myself sit down with a book to read, and I think this is part of my job. I get to do this, and I am so inspired by reading other people's words, including, have y'all heard of a book called Tom Lake? Yeah.
Thanks for the plug, Fluffy.
Yeah. In case she needs to sell a few copies, right? Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that we talk a lot about when we're standing in the kitchen, but we are in Tennessee, and so I want to talk a little bit about banned books for a minute. And yeah, right? I mean, it's just us. We can talk about it. But talk about the idea of keeping a kid safe from a book.
That's where safety is in a book. And y'all know why. A book, I can't do this without crying. It upsets me so much to think, because I go back to the kid that I was. You find who you can become in a book. And you also, it is so important for us to imagine our way into other people's hearts. That is the only hope for us, is to imagine our way into other people's hearts. And that's what books do. So, sorry that I'm crying, Ann. Ann always, she accuses me of crying all the time. This matters so much, and I'm glad it matters to y'all too. It is everything. To be able to put the book that a kid needs in their hands at the right time will save a life, period. So.
Okay, and this is going to be my last question.
Are we already out of time? Oh, y'all have got, look it. Oh. I'm like, how do you know? There it is, 1 minute. Okay.
Puppets.
Yeah.
A lot of your illustrious career has been built on the backs of tiny puppets. Both Edward Tulane, but your new book, which happens to, who did you dedicate that book to?
For Ann Patchett, who listened clear-eyed from beginning to end.
I like that.
I sat in
nice.
her den and read it aloud to her in manuscript.
The Puppets of Spellhorse.
Yeah.
And now, in just a few minutes, we're going to see an amazing puppet show. So tell us something about puppets, and then we're going to hear from our students.
I have a minute to talk about
I don't
puppets.
actually think you have a minute left.
I don't have a
minute
minute.
sign just went in your lap.
You know, what do I want to say about puppets? Or it's more like, how many of y'all like Toy Story and the Pixar? And it's just like, that is all, I feel like that thing of imagining, the very thing that I was just saying about imagining your way into another heart. It's like I can imagine my way right into the heart of a puppet, of a rabbit doll who thinks he's all that in a bag of chips. I mean, that is my job, to imagine my way into the heart of those inanimate and animate things. And everything has a heart. Everything speaks to us. And it's our job to listen. So, yeah, okay. Now we're going to have the really hard questions. You're done. Okay. I mean, you can ask a question of Anne if y'all want, but okay. Come up to the microphone.
Hello.
How are you? Tell me your name.
My name is Sequoia Brooks.
It's nice to meet you.
You too. My question. Sorry, you go. My question is, why is the relationship between children and animals a common theme in your books, and are any of them based off real life?
Yeah. So I get asked this question quite a bit about. There's so many animals in the books. And, you know, I was a kid who read Black Beauty when I was 7, 8. And that book so destroyed me that I would never again pick up a book that had an animal on the cover, because I was afraid of how the animal was going to suffer. And so the irony is that the 8-year-old me would not read anything that I have written, because every book has an animal on the cover. And so why animals? One, because I loved animals, and I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I found out I did not have the stomach for it, or the scientific aptitude. And 2 is because some of the books that I read when I was growing up, Stuart Little, before, how many of y'all have read Stuart Little? And there, Beverly Cleary did Ralph S. Mouse, and then I particularly loved Paddington Bear. And so those books with those anthropomorphized animals really, really were central to me as a reader when I was growing up. And then here's the last thing. I find that when you have an animal as a protagonist, we as readers tend to lower our guard more, and we connect much more quickly to the story. It's a way in, it's a shortcut to the human heart. So, very good question. Thank you.
Can I tack one on a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
How did it feel to cut Despero's tail off? Because I'm still really wrestling with that.
Wow. I didn't cut it off. Yeah, no.
I'm sorry. Who cut Despero's?
It was hard, but life is hard, and it goes to that whole, terrible things happen. This is something that we talk about a lot. But right now, I can't answer your questions anymore. I'm back over here.
No, that's why I asked you the question, so that you would talk about that.
Yeah, terrible things happen. Wonderful things happen. It's beautiful here. It is difficult here. And stories need to reflect all of that. So, okay, yes. If Anne will let you speak, yeah.
All right, hi, I'm Josie. And I'm 14. My question was, how do you complete an entire story without losing interest or losing the story's flow?
Oh, that's a great question. So, this is one thing I found, because I said that I work by very slowly, 2 pages at a time. And I have learned that going down there every day, because generally it's not working. you know, and there's always a reason to give up. But I have found that when you're ready to give up, when you feel like you've lost interest, that's when it will open up. So to me, and for writing, anybody who, again, all you who raised your hands, you're interested in writing, there's no right or wrong way to do it other than if you want to do it and you're not doing it. But for me, I have found that just that little bit every day and showing up and then getting up and walking away, that I don't give up as easily. Because if you sit down and think, I'm gonna write a novel now, it's gonna be a hard slog. But if you sit down and think, I'm gonna write 2 pages right now, and then get up, and then that also keeps your interest going. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Are you interested in being a writer?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a writerly question. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
I empathize with you. This is my life. Yeah, Sonia.
I am Sarah. I like vanilla ice cream. I am 8 years old. And my question is, what was the first story you ever wrote as a kid?
Oh, Sarah, vanilla ice cream? Yeah, that's your favorite?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I have to tell you the truth. I never wrote a story as a kid. This goes back to how old I am. When I was growing up, what we learned how to do in school was to write an essay. And I loved books so much and stories so much. It never occurred to me that human beings were responsible for making them. And so, like, me here talking to you today, I always feel like that is the number one thing I can convey to people. If you want to do this magic job, you can do it just by being a normal, somewhat messy human being, right? So I never did it when I was a kid. The only thing that I wrote when I was a kid was poetry, very bad poetry, all of it to the dog. Do you have a dog?
No.
Why not? Oh, it's okay, it's okay. But yeah, okay, all right. Very good question, thank you.
So rude. Hi, my name is Kate, and I'm 6 years old. I play the flute. My question is, did you play an instrument when you were a kid? Did you think of a tune for La 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 when you wrote it?
Okay, wait, I missed the first part of it.
Did you play an instrument when you were a kid?
Oh, what a great question. Did I play an instrument? I did. I played 2 very interesting. One, I played the trumpet, if you can believe that. And
I can so believe that.
Can you believe that?
Yes.
Yeah. And also I played the piano. And I don't do either one of those things now, but that music that I learned to play, I learned to turn that into words. So it's a very, very good question, and no one has ever asked me that before. You did a beautiful job. Thank you.
Do you think that the discipline that you learned through practicing music influenced the discipline that you have as a writer?
No.
All right, thank you very
Because
much.
you know what I was going to say? What I was going to say about the piano is I wasn't doing that for me. I was doing that because my father wanted me to do it, and that's why I cannot read music. I've like wiped it out. It was so traumatic for me. But what I did learn was that this is interesting. It's a very interesting question, Anne. That the music played differently if you put your whole heart into it, and that's the same way it is with words. It's that thing about leaning your heart into it, and it sounds different if you're really there and putting your heart behind it.
I had a friend who was a great writer and a tennis player, a very, very serious competitive tennis player. And he used to say that just showing up, whether you felt like it or not, because you had to go to practice and you had to do these things every day, whether or not you wanted to, really made him the writer. He didn't love tennis, but it made him the writer that he was. And so I've wondered about that with you and the piano, even though you don't play, just that you had to do it and you had the mindset that you would show up if you wanted to or not.
Well, and the other thing that happens is, which is a good point, is if you show up every day doing the piano, whether you want to or not, you find that you get better just by being there, whether you're invested in it or not. And that is very true. It's just like showing up and doing it every day. You will get better, and that applies to writing just as much.
Because I think people understand that with music and athletics, but not so much with writing.
Yeah, and but it also goes back to music again. It's a George Saunders thing about you learn to listen to yourself by practicing. Mm-hmm. That's what you learn to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
Hi, my name is Taryn. I'm 18 years old, and I also go to school here. And I kind of have a loaded question, but I am excited to hear your answer.
Okay.
So it is, what ultimately made you choose children's fiction? If you could, would you consider venturing into another genre? And also, how important is it to convey emotional connection to your readers, particularly through imagery, especially for young people?
Oh, yeah, it is a complicated question, and I am going to try to do justice to you. So I'll start with the easy part, which is why children's books. So when I started writing, and I had this vision of myself, in a black turtleneck and, looking like a writer and all that, I started where most people start, which is short stories, thinking they're easier, and they're not, and sending them to literary magazines. And so that was where I started. I did not think about writing for children until I got a job in a book warehouse. And I was assigned to the third floor, and the third floor was all children's books. My job was, I was a picker. I went around pulling the books off the shelves. And I went into that job with a bias that a lot of adult readers have, which is, children's books, duckies and bunnies. This is cute. But after a while pulling those books off the shelves, I became interested in them because I'm a reader. And I read a book, I wonder if y'all know it, called The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963. Raise your hand if you know that book. Christopher Paul Curtis. I read that book, and it talked about something so important, and did it in such a humorous, warm way. I thought, I want to try to do something like this. And so I took that book home. I typed up a chapter, and just to feel for what it would feel like to do it. And then pretty soon after that, I started on, I heard a little girl's voice say, I have a dog named Winn-Dixie. And I started on Because of Winn-Dixie. So that's how it happened that I'm writing for children. Now, the really difficult part is that connection piece. How important is that to me? And that to me is everything. And I don't think about it as I'm writing, but I am always reaching out, looking to connect. And the stories, because I'm not thinking about it, it's that thing about putting my heart on the story, that it is always looking to reach out and make community through the story. It's a beautiful, beautiful question. It is not loaded at all. It's just, it is really meaningful. So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now what happens?
Now Sean and Terry are going to
okay, because I felt like
important information.
Okay, all right, okay.
And maybe a gift bag.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you both. To our young people, Kate, Sarah, Josie, Sequoia, Taryn, thank you, and your parents. We're grateful that you were a part of our program this. Before we turn our attention to Wishing Chair, I'd like to thank some of our supporters who have made today possible. First and foremost, I want to thank our public lecture supporters who make this event free for all to attend. Dollar General and Carol and Bobby Frist, and our public lecture patrons. Thank you to the Bentley family for sponsoring the creation of the new puppet show. I also want to thank UBS for presenting this year's literary award, as well as the Sandra Shatton Foundation for being our Literary Award honoree sponsor. Thank you to our gala event co-chairs, Cassidy and Dierks Bentley, Johari and Lonnell Matthews, Kristin and Carter Paine. They made this weekend so special, and their fingerprints are on all of the little elements that we have already experienced and that we'll continue to experience today. A special thank you to Dr. McShepard Ray and the team here at MLK Magnet High School for hosting us this morning. We are grateful for you opening your doors, not just this morning, but all week as we were preparing and setting up. I need to take a moment to acknowledge Kate DiCamillo, Jamie Kim, and Candlewick Press, who have been incredibly generous. They donated the rights for us to use their work for the creation of a puppet show that you are about to see. Many of you may not know this, but there is an honorarium associated with this award. Kate turned down the prize money and asked instead that we buy books to give to children all over Nashville. We have been given just a glimpse of your generous spirit, and that was just another testament. Thank you. We were able to purchase 9,000 books. Some of you in the audience, may have been among the lucky kids who got a book last week at school. And last but not least, a huge thank you to Ann Patchett, Nashville's own literary superstar and owner of Parnassus Books, who has supported the library for so many years. Thank you, Anne. And I want you to know that it's because of Anne's relationship with Kate, but with so many authors, that we are able to bring world-renowned authors to Nashville every year. So for that, we're grateful. And also, speaking of Parnassus Books, Anne mentioned the team over here. There are tables of books here, and we would love for you to purchase a signed book. So all these books are already signed by Kate. Thank you for all of that as well. And without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Terry, who has a little something special planned before we watch the puppet show.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. So, we have prepared a special gift for Kate, and it goes back to 2016 when Nashville Public Library and the Nashville Public Library Foundation presented Congressman John Lewis with the Literary Award. When he accepted this award, Congressman Lewis shared his story about being a Black child in the segregated South, where he was not allowed to use his own library card. That year, we presented Congressman Lewis with a Nashville Public Library card. It was a small gesture to show the congressman how much we admired him and how much it meant for us to have him be part of the NPL family. Since then, we have presented each Literary Award honoree with a Nashville Public Library card. Kate, this year I am pleased to present you a special NPL card that we have created in your honor. It's the NPL La 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 card.
Should I open it right now? Look at that. Do I take this to the library?
Yes, you can.
That is fabulous. Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you. When I heard that Kate was donating her honorarium so that kids in our community and at our branches could have books, it really touched my heart. So Kate, even though we've created this special card for you, we have loved it so much that we also printed more. So everyone who is here today can have their own card. Yes, I know, right? So our volunteers will be waiting for you as you leave today to make sure that you get your very own La 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 card, and so that you can celebrate Kate's books long after today. So thank you.
And now I would like to welcome to the podium our former Foundation board member, current member of the Foundation Advisory Committee, Literary Award Weekend co-chair, all-around great person, and most importantly, good friend, Cassidy Bentley.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Sean. And thank you to all the kids in the audience for your patience. I know you're excited to see the puppet show, and so am I. I'm the last speaker, I promise. I have the honor today of introducing Wishing Chair Productions' newest puppet show. Like many of you, when my kids were young, we found our way to the children's section of the main library. I can't tell you how many Saturdays were planned around our time at the library. And I looked forward to the weekly puppet shows as much as my kids. And of course, the stories with Library Pete and the crew. Although the puppet shows drew us in, it was the joy we found at the library that kept us coming back. And the more time I spent at the library, the more I realized what a treasure it is to our community. There is no other single organization in Nashville that serves so many people in so many different ways. I always say, I really do say this, that library lovers are my people. That is why I served on the board of the Nashville Public Library Foundation, and why this year, my husband Dierks and I are co-chairing this weekend, along with our friends, Johari, Lonnell, Kristin, and Carter, helping to raise money for the programs we all love. We are proud to support the work of the library, and we are so thrilled to help enable the production of this puppet show. When we first met with the incredibly talented Brett Wilson from Wishing Chair to talk about the creation of this show, I think we all had our favorite Kate DiCamillo characters in mind. Who wouldn't want to see a puppet Mercy Watson? However, when he began telling us his vision for La La La, his inspiration was contagious. It literally filled the room when he spoke. And we knew that this was the story that Wishing Chair was meant to bring to life. Puppet shows, believe it or not, play an important role in a child learning to read. We have all heard a lot about third grade reading success, but literary success starts long before third grade. Simply building a love of stories is a critical first step to reading. Wishing Chair does this masterfully. The show engages our youngest audience members by transcending language itself and simply and beautifully illustrating the universal desire for and power of connection. Like Nashville Public Library itself, La 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 speaks to and includes us all. Without further ado, I present La La La, a story of hope.